We welcome you to the Lafayette Parish Council meeting. As presiding officer and chair, I would like to make the following announcement. But before we do that, I missed a step. We'll start with prayer from Mr. Tabor and our pledge from Mr. Carlson. Sorry.
Father God, we thank you for this day, Father God. We thank you for this council, Father God. We thank you for this parish and city, Father God. We just ask that you just bless this meeting tonight, Father God. Give us the wisdom we need, Father God, to make the decisions we need to make, Father God. We thank you, Lord, and we ask for a safe ride home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. My vice chair said I can now start. Again, we welcome you to the Lafayette Parish Council meeting. As presiding officer and chair, I would like to announce the following. This is a public meeting to address the council on any item on this agenda. Please fill out the speaker's form to submit your information to the clerk prior to the call of the agenda item, or you will not be given the opportunity to speak. Staff assistance is available if needed. Items for submission to the council should be handed to council clerk, Ms. Veronica Williams, seated to my left. When addressing the council, please state your name and title for the official record. The 3-minute rule is in effect. No debating or confrontational statements will be allowed, and that includes any personal attacks, name calling, cussing. None of these things will be allowed. Sorry. The front row to my left is for media only. Food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium. Please at this time silence all cell phones and electronic devices. Meeting procedures are by Robert's Rules of Order. All documents with reference to meetings can be found on the LCG website. And finally, the council encourages your involvement in boards or commissions. If interested, call 291-8800. Chair announced.
The legal said that you said the Robert's Rules, the meeting is by Robert's Rules, not by Robert's Rules.
Okay, I've been corrected by legal. We're not by Robert's Rules of Order, but by resolution. I want to make that clear. Robert's Rules of Order is not what governs, it's the resolution of the council. Thank you, Mr. Council. Okay. Chair announcements. Due to the Mardi Gras holiday, the council meetings for February and March have been scheduled on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of each month. Instead of the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays, meetings will return to their typical schedule in April. At this time, I have a couple announcements to be made from the chair. First, I'd like to recognize our state representative, Jonathan Goudeau. Good to have you, sir. Always a pleasure. If you are here thinking that this council, the parish council, will be discussing the mask mandate, this council will not be considering that. It's not an agenda item. It will appear as an emergency item under the city council. So if you're here for that particular item, the parish council is not, does not have that as an agenda item. Any council announcements? Not hearing any, then Mr. Mayor President, I'll turn to you for your executive report. Hold on, let me get you on. Well, I know, and I appreciate that, but hold on.
I came out the gates running.
Go.
So
Keep running.
I do appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us. I know it's a little early in your day, so thank you for your participation. Without you, none of this works. And also to our clerk of the councils, you were very accommodating the other day when we had Bishop Desatel in, so Thank you. I really appreciate you. Also, thank you to our representative, as the chair said, he comes to almost every meeting, so you're batting 1,000 almost, so we really appreciate your support over there in Baton Rouge. Also, before we get to the budget to actual, I see a neighbor in our audience, Mr. Craig Matthews, with Smile, if you want to, there you go. Look, guys, we have been really diving into the community, trying to find some ways to expand our partnerships, expand the reach of what government, especially at the local level, can do, and we need local partners like that. So I appreciate you attending the meeting. You don't have to, but you come, and you're also batting almost 1,000 if you're not batting 1,000 already. So thank you, I appreciate you. Problem. All right, Mr. Chair and council members, we do have the budget to actual comparison of major parish funds, December 2020. Director Toops is behind me if you have any questions. And not seeing any. We do have 2 proclamations with your permission, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
The first proclamation is in regards to the Lafayette Reads Together program. So whereas the parish of Lafayette and its citizens believe that reading opened doors to self-enrichment and lifelong learning, and whereas the parish of Lafayette and its citizens believe that a vibrant community is one where citizens are engaged in thoughtful discussion and sharing of knowledge, and whereas the Lafayette Public Library and its partners will launch the 2021 Lafayette Reads Together Community Reading Program to be conducted during the months of January, February, and March 2021, and whereas such a reading program can bring people of diverse backgrounds and viewpoints together through the shared experience of reading, discussing, and exploring the same book. Now, therefore, I, Josh Guillory, Lafayette Mayor President, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2021 as Lafayette Reads Together Month, and urge all citizens to become involved by reading Haben, the Deaf-Blind Woman Who Conquered Harvard Law by Haben Germa, and participating in any or all community activities relating to the reading program. And I have one amendment, Mr. Chair. We're declaring January 2021 is that month, so we're a little late, but we do appreciate that. So in witness whereof, I have here unto set my hand and cause the seal of the office of the Mayor President to be affixed this 9th day of February 2021. So please join us. Yep. Oh, and do we have Mr. Angel here, or Larry? Hey, Larry, if you'd like to come and receive this. Yeah. And Amy Wander. Okay, good. Excellent.
Okay, absolutely.
You would like to say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi.
For picture taking, if all of you would just move to the center right here, up against it. Yep. And council members, if you would, stand up for the picture. If you move, kind of move in. We're in.
Smile, Dwight.
Big smile. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. All right, Mr. Mayor, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you to our participants and especially our young future leaders that join us today. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. As you know, Mr. Chair, and to our audience, that this is Black History Month. where we acknowledge the contributions of so many great Americans who fought for freedom, fought for dignity. We can think of a few: Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Jackie Robinson, President Barack Obama. And to read a proclamation acknowledging their accomplishments and all those who fought for equality, I'd ask that the Chief of Minority Affairs approach to read a proclamation. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and good evening to Parish Council members, Chairman Gilbo and Rubin, Tabor, Knockin, and Carlson. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor. My name is Carlos Harvin, Chief of Minority Affairs, and as our Mayor President announced, we are celebrating Black History Month with a proclamation. Whereas National Black History Month, also called National African American History Month, is celebrated in February and recognizes the achievements that African Americans have made to American history while struggling for freedom and equality. And whereas the National Black History Month had its origins in 1915, when the distinguished Black author, editor, publisher, and historian, Harvard University graduate, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, now known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, ASALH. And whereas Dr. Carter G. Woodson, known as the father of Black history, believed that African Americans should know their past and be proud of their heritage so they could effectively participate in the affairs of our nation. He believed that Black history was something that others have tried diligently to erase, but is a firm foundation for young African Americans to build on, and is something that all Americans should know and understand. And whereas Dr. Carter G. Woodson and ASALH organized the first celebration of Negro History Week in February 1926, a week when African Americans were already celebrating the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and Frederick Douglass on February 14th. Beginning in the 1940s, the celebration shifted to a month-long event in West Virginia, and by the late 1960s was being celebrated on Black college campuses around the U.S. And whereas in 1975, President Gerald Ford issued a message on the observance of Black History Week, urging all Americans to recognize the important contribution made to our nation's life and culture by Black citizens. And in 1976, 50 years after the first celebration, ASALH expanded this celebration to Black History Month. And whereas since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. In 1986, Congress passed Public Law 99244, which designated February 1986 as National Black Afro-American History Month. And whereas the year 2021 saw significant first-time achievements for African Americans on a national level, including America's first Black Vice President, first Black Secretary of Defense, and first National Youth Poet Laureate to speak at a presidential inauguration. And whereas African Americans in Lafayette Parish have made significant first-time achievements here in our parish and city by serving in key leadership roles in 2021, including our first Black fire chief, first Black female president of the Lafayette Parish School Board, first Black city marshal, who is also the first African American elected to a citywide position, first Black male director for the Department of Community Development, first ever chief of Minority Affairs, first Black head golf pro, first Black head tennis pro, first ever Black chief of police, and the first African American female judge in Division B of the 15th Judicial District Court and the first black editor-in-chief at the Tulane Law Review. Now, therefore, on behalf of Mayor President Josh Guillory, Mayor President of Lafayette, we hereby do proclaim February 2021 as Black History Month in the city and parish of Lafayette, Louisiana. He calls upon all the people of our city and parish to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities while maintaining safe COVID-19 practices and protocols. In witness whereof, he has hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the office of the Mayor President to be affixed this 9th day of February 2021. Josh Guillory, Lafayette Mayor President. Those history makers, the heroes and sheroes that we read about in that proclamation, some are here tonight. We're going to ask that as their names are called, that they please come forward, that we may recognize them with the copy of this proclamation, and so that they may take a photograph with our council. Our first black fire chief, Chief Robert Benoit. Our first black female president of the Lafayette Parish School Board, Miss Mary Morrison. First black city marshal and the first African American elected to a citywide position, Marshal Reggie Thomas. First black male director of the Department of Community Development, Mr. Hollis Conway. First black head golf pro, Mr. Chris Arsenault. First black head tennis pro, Mr. Calvin Kemp, sends his regrets. He's giving a tennis lesson as we speak. First ever black chief of police, Chief Thomas Glover. He could not be with us tonight, but standing in proxy is Major Lorani Richard. First African-American female judge in Division B of the 15th JDC, Judge Valerie Gotch Garrett. She's in drug court. I'm not sure if she made it this evening yet or not. And first editor-in-chief at the Tulane Law Review. He is the youngest member of this crew, Mr. Antonio Milton. Can we give them a round of applause?
Come on down.
Hey, you don't have too many friends if you get in front of Kevin.
Yeah, that's right.
And if I may, while you guys are setting up, Mary Morrison was also the first black female city councilwoman for city parish government as well.
Okay.
Oh, y'all look so good. It looks so good.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop Harvin. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your leadership, your support in our community. Mr. Chair, that's all I have for my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Cindy, ceremony presentation, read.
Recognition, Karen Crow High School State Champion Football Team.
Yeah.
Coach Corville, if I know you're here, and any guests with you, if you would come forth. And while he's coming up, I just want to say, Coach, that I'm a proud 1966 graduate of Karen Crow High, and very proud of this achievement, and glad to say that our second one, right? So congratulations. I'll turn the mic over to Mr. Tabor. Do you want
I'm not going to show my age.
to hit your mic?
I did have.
Hit your button. Hit your
You
button.
turn me on? Okay. We good? I'm not going to show you as my age as much as Coach did, The councilman did, but two of my brother-in-laws, one went to 1992, played in the championship the last time we won it.
Who was
So,
that?
The Arnolds.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So that's all I gotta say. You know how many they got of those, huh?
I was coaching then too.
So congratulations. I'm gonna present you with the plaque.
Go ahead, Coach, if you want to say a few words.
I want to thank you. I'm truly blessed and honored to be standing in front of you. I couldn't do this by myself, obviously. This is my athletic director, Mr. Larry Bro, and my head coach at home, my lovely wife of 40 years, Carolyn. I couldn't do this by myself. I have administration, I have school board members, and then I had some wonderful football players. Not only wonderful football players, but men of character. And that makes a difference. That's the difference makers when you have young men like that. Then I had a tremendous coaching staff that I'm truly blessed to have. And altogether, you know, I tell my wife every week we had two opponents. One was COVID, and that would be internally between us and possibly our opponent. Then on Friday nights, I said, when they're playing the national anthem, I think we're going to play. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you never knew something was going to happen. But we were just truly blessed. And again, hopefully I get to come see you again in the future. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Good.
it.
Thank you, and congratulations, Coach. Next. All right. See you next year, Coach. Okay, good. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, next item, report in our discussion item. Cindy, please read.
LCG Open Book Online Budget Interactive Tool.
I've asked Ms. Toops to make this presentation. Some of you may have witnessed or saw it when she did the a press conference a couple of weeks ago. So I thought it would be good that we all had the opportunity to hear it. So Ms. Toops, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Go ahead.
This is our open data website. When the new mayor president came on board, this was one of his initiatives that he wanted to see us work on. In trying to work on it, we really didn't know how we were going to get there. And talking with the staff, we had just purchased a new budget software. This year, I think was the second year we used for budget purposes. That software had a module for Open Book. So it's still a work in progress. We're still working on things, adding things. If there's features you want to see, let me just point this one button up here. Feedback, right here. Click on that button when you want to respond to anything on Open Book. Click that button. The email will go to all the right people to make sure that we get your comments and your feedback. But as you'll see, it's a work in progress. Some of it will take some accounting knowledge and to understand, but others are really very simple. So what we found people were most asking for is how much was your budget and where was all the money going? This is for last fiscal year. The blue line here represents our budget. And when you look at our budget, you can look at it in graph, a pie shaped. You can go through and analyze budget numbers or actuals. You can sort it different ways, however you like. And looking at just a regular bar chart here, this is where the accounting knowledge and background may come in. And if you have questions, ask us. We're not here to help you get an accounting degree, but certainly we want you to understand the information we have out there. But the blue line is the budget. And for LUS, right off the top, I'm going to ask the question, why is the budget so big when the actuals are so little? Well, that has to do with accounting rules. So the blue line is based on cash, and the pink line down here is based on accounting and federal accounting guidelines on the way we have to report things. So that's something that, you know, the layperson may not be able to understand, but what we found the layperson was really interested in is where's the money going? Who'd you write checks to? So what we have here on this main page is 3 sets of data for 3 years. The current year, that's at the top, last fiscal year, and the year before that. We're giving you the same sets of data for each year. So we're going to give you a list of checks that we wrote. We're going to give you the budget information, and you can click here, and this kind of gives you the budget book view for the budget nerds who really want to get into the details. But most people, as I said, they just want to see who we're writing checks to. We wanted to make it really easy. You can go in here if scrolling is not your thing. You can shrink these columns to where you could get everything on one page. And you'll see some things right off. I see some things you may want to ask a question about. You see a null value. That's a voided check or a voided transaction. But folks out there, when you're looking through it, that's what the feedback button is for, when you see something unusual that you're curious about. But you can look through the transactions here. And as I said, we wanted to make it really easy. We know the citizen is not going to know the fund number for animal control. I don't know the fund number for animal control. I got to look it up when I need it. But here, all you have to do is just type animal and hit enter, and you're going to see the checks written for animal control. That way, a layperson could use this fairly easy. You can click on vendor, and maybe you're interested in Centos. I believe that's what I used for the press demo. You can click on Centos, and you can see what checks we wrote for Centos in animal control. There's also this little nifty button down here. We got one comment from one citizen, said, hey, how can I export the data? And this is how you do it right here. Just click on that button, export data, and you have everything. And it'll drop it down into a spreadsheet. So this is our database. It's very simple, easy to use. The public can use it at their convenience at home. Sure, there may be more details that somebody might want, but I think 100 people, there might be one person that wants a little bit more information, where the other 100 people, they're going to find what they're looking for here, or just if they're curious, just to see how their tax dollars are being spent. So it's a neat tool. I hope that people use it and give us some feedback. We're always working on it. Know that the data refreshes every week, and right now the data is reloading for all 3 years. So at some point in time, we might be able to freeze those prior years and just update the current year. But right now, it's updating everything. And just as in any technology that you use today, you might come across a bug or something. Send us an email. It's all real, live data. And we hope that the people use it and like to use, get some good use out of it to see where their money's going.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thanks, Laura. Council members, any questions or concerns or comments? Go ahead, Ms. Well, let's see, I have Tabor. No, you're already. Carlson, I'm sorry. Councilman Carlson. You're on.
Am I on?
Yes.
Okay. Really just wanted to take a quick second and say thank you, and really thank you to the administration. I know this is a lot of work. This isn't just, it doesn't just magically populate this data onto the website, and I know it's been a lot of work. So thank you to your staff. I think this is important to rebuild trust with people and as a full commitment to transparency. So thank you for your effort. And Mayor President, thank you for prioritizing this. It's something you promised during the campaign. And, I was really encouraged to see this a couple weeks ago finally come to fruition. So thank you for following through on that.
Thank you. And, I'm always nervous in front of the microphone, so I didn't think to thank my staff. But when I went back with the instructions that the Mayor President gave me, I can tell you the staff was excited to work on something new. It was a challenge. We started all gung-ho. We thought we could put the history of the world on here, and then we realized, well, we have to limit it. But they really were excited. It was primarily worked on in the budget department, in the budget office, because that's what Questica, they were working with Questica. But, Kearney, Shane, Denise, and the rest of the group in there really did a great job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And please do extend our thanks to them as well. We certainly recognize their efforts as well, and I mean, great job. We have numbers at our fingertip, very transparent, and I see another award in the future for you guys. So thanks, we appreciate it. Great job.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
And Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may, I failed to mention something in conjunction with the Black History Program. Okay. In conjunction with the Black History Program, the Lafayette Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, in partnership with Lafayette Consolidated Government's Office of Minority Affairs, as well as the Small Business Support Services, is pleased to announce the completion of the 19th edition of the Black Pages of Greater Lafayette, which is a directory of Black-owned businesses in the Greater Lafayette area. We want you to know distribution of the publication will be handled by Recreation Center volunteers and will take place as follows. This Saturday, February 13th, 10 to 1 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Center parking lot. It'll be a contactless drive-through. You just drive through, we'll hand you the book. So upon arrival, please remain in your vehicle and proceed through the drive-through area. If you miss the Saturday pickup, you can pick up at one of these locations by going inside the Clifton Chenier Public Library, the Lafayette Public Library, the main branch. You can pick it up here at Lafayette City Parish Hall and the Jesse Taylor Center. That's starting on Monday. If you can't pick it up Saturday, you could pick it up on Monday.
Thank you very much.
And that, again, that's in conjunction with Lafayette Consolidated Government.
Good. Thank you. Okay, resolutions. Cindy, please read.
Parish Resolution 3, 2021, a resolution of the Lafayette Parish Council acknowledging that Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government supports the City of Carencro in applying for a grant to aid in funding various drainage improvements projects and detention pond projects as part of the Lafayette Watershed Initiative.
Need a motion and a second. Moved by Mr. Nakam, seconded by Mr. Tabor. We do have an amendment that has been proposed to change Lafayette to Louisiana in the title in Section 1. I need a motion and second on the proposed amendment. Moved by Mr. Nakam, seconded by Mr. Tabor. Council discussion on the amendment. Not hearing any. Ms. Williams, any public comments?
No, sir.
Call for the vote on the amendment.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
The motion to amend is approved.
Call for the vote on the ordinance as amended.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 1. The motion to adopt as amended is approved.
Okay. Next item, Ms. Cindy, please read.
Parish Resolution 4, 2021, a resolution of the Lafayette Parish Council acknowledging that Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government supports the Vermilion Parish in applying for a grant to aid in the North Vermilion Regional Detention Pond Project as part of the Lafayette Watershed Initiative.
Need a motion and second. Moved by Mr. Nakam, seconded by Mr. Carlson. We do have an amendment as proposed to change Lafayette to Louisiana in the title, Section 1. I need a motion and a second. Moved by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Mr. Rubin. Any discussion on the amendment? Any public comment?
No, sir.
We call for the vote.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, District 1, District 2.
Yes.
The motion to amend is approved.
Okay, then we call for the vote on the, from the council to adopt the ordinance as amended.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
know if there's a number where you have to ask for public comment on the ordinance as amended.
I'm sorry, any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, not hearing any, we'll move to a vote to adopt the ordinance as amended.
District 4,
Yes?
District 5,
Yes.
District 1, District 2,
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
The motion to adopt as amended is approved.
Joint resolutions, Cindy, please read.
Joint Resolution 5, 2021, a resolution of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing a non-warranty cash sale of 146 Sandest Drive to an adjoining landowner pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 472202B for the price of the sale's anticipated costs.
Need a motion? Moved by Mr. Nakam, seconded by Councilman Carlson. Any council discussion? Not hearing any. Any public comment? Then call for the vote.
District 5,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
The motion to adopt is approved. Joint Resolution 6, 2021, a resolution of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing a non-warranty cash sale of 321 Nottingham Circle to an adjoining landowner pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 472202B for the price of the sale's anticipated costs.
Let's see. Let me give you the mic, sir. Go ahead. I think Mr. Rubin has.
It's 323 instead of 21.
Did you get that? He's saying it's 323 and not 321. Okay, we got that correction. Okay, we do
Oh,
have
it says 323.
Oh, I said
but
321?
she said 321, I
Oh,
believe is
okay,
what she said.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any council discussion? We do have a motion, right?
You have, no.
No, I need a motion. Been moved by Mr. Tabor, seconded by Mr. Rubin. Any council discussion? Ms. Williams, any public
No,
comment?
sir.
Not hearing any, we call for the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
The motion to adopt is approved.
Ordinances for final adoption. Ms. Cindy Reed.
Parish Ordinance 2, 2021.
Excuse me, Ms. Cindy, let me make a comment that this is a public hearing and speaker sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. And again, the 3-minute rule does apply for this section. Okay, Ms. Cindy.
Parish Ordinance 2, 2021, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by rededicating .175 mills from Fund 274, Cultural Economy, to new Fund 279, Parish-wide Fire Protection.
Been moved by Mr. Nakam, seconded by Mr. Carlson. Again, we have a proposed amendment to substitute a revised budget revision, which includes more details on the allocation of funds. I need a motion and a second. Moved by Mr. Nakam. Seconded by Mr. Rubin. Any council discussion on the amendment? Ms. Williams, any public comment on the amendment? No. Call for the vote on the amendment.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 1? Yes. The motion to amend is approved.
Any discussion on the ordinance as amended by the council? Ms. Williams, any public comment on the ordinance as amended? Not hearing, we call for the vote on the adoption, the adopted ordinance as amended.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
The motion to adopt as amended is approved. Parish Ordinance 3, 2021, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by transferring $300,000 from upgrade LPCC elevators to LPCC improvements repairs within the Public Works Department Capital Improvements Division.
Moved by Mr. Nakam. Seconded by Mr. Carlson. Any council discussion? Ms. Williams, any public comment? Not hearing any? Let's vote.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
The motion to adopt is approved.
Joint ordinances for final adoption. Ms. Cindy, before we ask you to read, this is a public hearing, and speaker sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council The 3-minute rule does apply. Read, Ms. Cindy.
Draw Ordinance 3, 2021, and draw ordinance of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by rededicating .075 mills from Fund 274 Cultural Economy to Fund 260 Road and Bridge Maintenance.
Been moved by Mr. Nakam, seconded by Mr. Tabor. Any council discussion? Ms. Williams, any public comment? Then let's vote.
District 5,
Yes.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
The motion to adopt is approved. Draw Ordinance 5, 2021, a draw ordinance of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council, amending the fiscal year 2021 operating and capital budgets of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing revenues in the amount of $67,500 received from the Louisiana Office of State Parks for a Land and Water Conservation Program grant for the Nature Station, transferring matching funds from Nature Station Elevated Boardwalk in the amount of $67,500 and appropriating within the Community Development Department.
Need a motion and a second. Been moved by Mr. Tabor, seconded by Mr. Rubin. Any council discussion? Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir.
Not hearing any? Let's vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
The motion to adopt is approved.
We do have an appeal. Ms. Cindy, please read.
Appeal of Parish Planning Commission action, Lauren S. Boudreaux Estate Parcels B1, B2, B3, B4, and B5, case number PC 2020-78.
Planning and Development, okay, here, let me get you. Okay. Please introduce yourself and position and so forth.
Certainly. I'm Neil LaBeouf. I am the newly appointed Development Manager. So I have taken Ann Famoso's spot. So I haven't had the chance to meet every one of you individually as of yet, but I look forward to it should the time come. We are here and wait for the presentation to come up. Yeah, we are here for the appeal of Parish Planning Commission action on Laurent Boudreaux Estates, parcels B1 through B5, which represents 7.6 acres, which is proposed to be subdivided into 5 residential lots. This is in the unincorporated area of the parish and just off of Hutchinson Road. The area in blue are the parcels, with South Ridgefield Road running up and down on the screen here. The Planning Commission passed this plat, gave preliminary plat approval with one waiver, which was to waive sidewalks, as there are no sidewalks along Hutchinson Street, but did not waive the need for a drainage impact analysis. And at this point, this is where an appeal was filed as to whether to consider or reconsider, I guess, whether the drainage impact analysis is in fact needed or can be waived. And that's why we're here tonight. I can tell you that section 8942 A2 is what discusses drainage impact analysis, and in particular, it states that Public Works shall review all developments for compliance with these requirements, and Public Works and the appropriate planning commission shall in no way modify or void any other development drainage requirements found herein, which we believe includes the drainage impact analysis requirement.
Neil, leading up to this second platting of these 5 lots, go back and explain to the council what took place prior to where 5 other plats were, lots were platted, and instead of a drainage analysis, a lot grading plan was put in place?
Certainly. So we're going to kind of get into stuff that was before my time. I came in only when these parcels were in place. But these 5 lots came in as a separate development prior to these 7 lots along Hutchison Road. I can tell you that that there may have been some things considered at that time, but as far as for the parcels here, B1 through B5, underneath the Lafayette Development Code, we do not believe that the drainage impact analysis can be waived. And I will certainly defer to legal. I believe we have our legal here, Mr. Escott, on that question.
Mr. Carlson?
Just to make sure I understand, can you give me?
It's on. I did.
Thank you. So just, and I lost my image whenever I get the chance to speak. So just to clarify, the lots in question tonight are surrounded in blue, but the first plat approval are those right there, those 5 at the corner of Hutchinson and, I can't read the street name.
That'd be South Richfield.
Is that correct?
So we're here to discuss these.
I understand that, but the original are the first 5 lots that were platted are those 5 right there?
That was part of a separate subdivision that was
Correct.
done at a different time. Yes.
Right. And who owns the property in between what was approved prior and what's being discussed tonight?
I believe it's the same ownership, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Do we have someone here from the property?
I believe so. I believe the developer representative is Mr. Montanez.
Can you guys come up real quick, or somebody?
The only speaker we have is Mr. Andre Montanez.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask, wait, I have a question for you. So so my understanding is that you had some concerns about the cost of actually getting a drainage impact analysis done. Is that correct?
Not really, we were just wanting to...
Can you come to one of the mics and introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, Jamie Fonda with KLP Properties.
Thank you.
No, we got the first set of to split it up. They wanted to do it in sections. I tried to get them to, I guess we wanted to do the whole thing, but then they said, let's just do it in sections. So we did the first part. We didn't have to do no drainage analysis or anything like that.
Yeah,
The
just
property
a
does not
lot
flood
grading.
or anything. So we were just wondering why we had to do all that, to do all the drainage analysis and all the other stuff.
So I'm sure Neil can address that. My question is, have you gotten a cost estimate to do a drainage impact analysis on this?
Sir, we have not on that property. No, sir, we have not.
Okay. I do have some other thoughts, but I'll let you go. I want to hear all the discussion first.
Mr. Nakam?
Yeah. This is in my district, in my area, and, you know, as long as I've been on the council for 8, going on 9 years, the biggest thing that we have problems in the unincorporated area is drainage. We get the most calls for drainage. That is the biggest fear. We don't want a development. We don't want a subdivision. We really don't want anything because we can't handle the water now. The fear is, you know, with new development, we're going to just be pushing water. So one of the things that was put in place was to better the unincorporated area in the fact that anytime developments were subdivided, you know, to have the drainage analysis study to see exactly how much watershed would be coming off of the 5 lots or 5 homes or whatever it may be. And we know today it's these 5, but we know in the future, everyone else around there, every other development has always had to do a drainage analysis study. And I get why today is 5, but tomorrow could be another 5, and then they can plat another 5 in the back. And I'm not saying that the developer is trying to do anything wrong. I mean, we welcome development in an unincorporated area, but we have to make sure that we hold our feet to the fire and provide drainage analysis so that as we start to grow, we have documentation. If we don't do it today and it continues to develop and without drainage analysis, then all of a sudden subdivisions below you, above you are going to start taking on water, and they're going to be calling me or the future councilman saying, why we have all this water problem? Did they ever do a drainage analysis? And if it comes back that we just went against what we have in the books, then that's going to not be very good, because I think everybody wants to be a good neighbor and wants development should make sure that everyone's accountable and that we're trying to do the right thing so that we know if a retention pond needs to be built? Do we know if the coulee can currently handle it? What does that look like in the future? You know, so I'm going to make a motion right now that we deny the appeal and that we make sure we have the drainage analysis study. Not because I want you to spend more money, but I think it's the right thing to do because we require it in every other development within the city and in the parish. So I'll make a motion on the floor to deny the appeal.
Mr. Notkamp, if you would, just hold off. I'd like to give the appellant an opportunity to.
Well, my motion can stand. You can override my motion, but I'm going to make a motion for the table on the floor. Your motion can still,
Okay,
you can still have discussion.
I'll accept the motion by Mr. Notkamp.
You need a second?
I need a second. Seconded by Mr. Tabor.
And the discussion
Okay.
continue. I free up the mic.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Ms. Williams, I'd like to hear from the
Speaker
appellant.
is Andre Martinez.
Good afternoon, council members. It's not the issue with the providing the drainage analysis, it's the cost involved. I've already done preliminary studies on it and anticipate each house to be about 1,500 square feet with a garage, so you're looking at about 2,000 square feet on the roof. And so it's going to increase the runoff 200th. That 200th is going to increase it, but LCG's Unified Development Code requires that we reduce the runoff 15%. So we have to do the drainage analysis, see how much we increase, and then the runoff has to be 15% less than it is right now. And so it costs Mr. Fontenot, $15,000, $20,000 to put in appropriate retention systems. We feel that, he's only increasing it 2%, but he's got to reduce it 15%. And, it's an undue burden on him to have to spend that much money on a development. I realize that everybody wants a report. We have no problem with doing the study, but it's to implement the requirements of LCG is what costs so much money. As you can see, this is a rural area. There's not much population, and the land's very flat out there. And, it's just, it's a shame that people have to spend so much money to meet the city's requirements, so the parish requirements.
Council members, any questions or comments for the appellant? Mr. Notkamp.
No, Mr. Martinez, I totally understand. Like I said, I'm not trying to be ugly here, but everyone else around there had to do a drainage analysis study, with development coming in that area. And we can't, we have to follow what we have on there. And the other thing is, it sets a precedence that somebody else will come in and want to develop 5 lots, and they'll look back and say, well, we didn't require drainage analysis on those 5. Why did you do it for that one? So, you starting a precedence where all of a sudden the thing that everybody's wanting and everybody needs in this parish is better drainage, and here we are developing and then could potentially come up with a system where every time you subdivide 5 lots, we start getting away from doing drainage analysis because it's just 5 lots and it's just because it's on an unincorporated area. But it's if we have it on the books and the Planning and Zoning Commission upheld it because that's what's required, I really think we should go with what's on the books.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I see it, on these first 5 lots, my understanding is that Planning and Zoning gave a waiver and did not require it. No, the drainage impact analysis. They did require a lot grading plan, but not a drainage impact analysis. But my understanding is that in these, so it's not that Planning and Zoning has been unwilling to work with the landowner or the developer. My understanding is that problems arise when it's not just 5 lots, but it's 5 lots here, and then 5 lots here, and then 7 lots here. And next thing you know, you have a moderate-sized development, and there's been no drainage impact analysis. It's the aggregate of all of these small little developments coming together that then create a large development or the same impact as a large development. I wish that there had been some cost estimates, because planning and zoning had told me that it's $4,000 to $5,000 for a drainage impact analysis. I'd heard from someone through the grapevine that the property owner said that it would be a lot more expensive, and I wanted to see that it was going to be $15,000 or $20,000, which would be outside the norm of what I've seen, at least in the last year. But I have not been able to see that, and so I agree with Mr. Nakian. I think as of now, I have to protect the adjacent property owners and ensure that they are not going to have adverse impacts from this development. So I also agree with you that I'm going to vote to deny the appeal.
Any other council members want to discuss? We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion of the motion? Ms. Williams, any public comment?
No, sir. Mr. Montaner was the only speaker.
Okay. I will turn to our attorney, and if you would clarify the motion in terms of how we vote.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, the motion on the floor is the motion to deny the appeal. That is essentially would result in an approval of the action of the Planning Commission as decided, and would require the applicant to do the drainage impact analysis. So a yes vote keeps the drainage impact analysis study requirement in place.
A no vote denies it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Council members, any question on the motion that we're fixing to vote on? Call for the vote.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 1.
Yes.
The motion to deny the appeal is approved.
Announcement of vacancies on boards, commissions. Cindy, please read.
A vacancy exists on the Lafayette Waterworks District South Board as of February 1st, 2021. This is a one-year term. Applicants must be district residents. A vacancy exists on the Lafayette Waterworks District South Board as of February 1st, 2021. This is a one-year term. Applicants must be district residents. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for the above volunteer vacancies must be a registered voter and a resident of Lafayette Parish. Yearly ethics training for all appointees is required, as is financial disclosure under certain circumstances. Resumes are to be forwarded to Veronica L. Williams, Clerk of the Council, P.O. Box 4017-C, Lafayette, Louisiana 70502, or email to bclafayette@lafayettela.gov no later than noon, Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, with appointments to be made at the March 9th, 2021 regular meeting of the Lafayette Parish Council. Resume submissions are public record.
Consider appointment by the council as a whole to boards, commissions. Cindy, please read.
Appointment to the Lafayette Parish Library Board of Control for the remainder of an unexpired 5-year term through September 30th, 2025.
I'll accept nominations. Mr. Nakan.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Ms. Christine Malloy.
Christine Malloy. Mr. Rubin.
Mr. Andre Bro.
Mr. Bro. Mr. Carlson.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Robert Judge.
Okay. I will now.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Okay. We usually don't have comments for board appointments. Calling the office today, we did receive some emails for and against candidates. For Andre Bro, we received 3 in support of Andre. We received 4 in support of Frank Dalfavero. Okay. 4 in support for him. For Robert Judge, we received 20 in opposition to him. Christy Malloy, we received 4 in support. G. Shelley Matran, 20 against. Jeremy Motts, 3 in support. Clay Will, 3 in support. And we just got another one in for Andre Bro, so that makes 4 in support of Andre Bro. And then we do have speakers. Okay.
Well, before we go to the speakers, we'll hear from the council members.
Yes, sir.
First. So I'll turn it over to you, council members. Are there any comments or remarks that you'd like to make before we move? No? Okay. Ms. Williams, before we go to the public for comments, I do want to make it clear that we're talking about the nominations, either for or against. We're not talking about all the other issues with the library board and so forth. We're talking about a nomination process. So keep your remarks to those that are nominated, or if you feel strong about one other, give us the reasoning. Again, I'm going to ask that you not make this a personal thing. Keep it very professional.
And if you did sign in for this one and you want to speak to matters of the library board and current issues, we can move your card to the comments from the public. But as he was saying, if you want to speak to support and opposition of the existing candidates, that's what the board appointment is for. The first speaker is Corey?
Corey?
He may be outside.
Okay.
Okay. I'll put it to the back. Jared Bro, do you want to speak now? Okay. You could come approach the mic.
Hello, my name is Jared Bro, and I rise to speak in opposition to the appointment of Glenn Shelley Macharan and Robert Judge to the Library Board of Control. I urge the council to review the resumes of each of the possible candidates thoroughly. Choose someone with the necessary credentials to make impartial decisions on policy that's not based on partisan politics. Choose someone who is familiar with the structure of a public educational institution. And choose someone who is familiar with choose someone who supports the public library system in facilitating a safe space for all of our diverse community members. Choose someone who will respect the integrity and expertise of the library executive director in the day-to-day operations of our library. In order to bring new industry into this area, we must show that we support our diverse community in this parish and embrace the advice of experts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Jean Menard.
Ms. Menard. Ms. Williams, if you could maybe announce the next one that follows Ms. Menard to get them ready.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Jamal Taylor will follow Ms. Menard. Ms. Menard, you can go to the podium there. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here today because I'm concerned about the nominations for the board. Primarily, I want to make sure that this board the nominations now and in the future remain concerned with the education and the experience of the people that are being nominated. I have reviewed all of the resumes that were submitted. Not everyone submitted a resume. And as a result, I would like to object to the appointment of Robert Judge and Shelley Macharan. And I would like to support either Del Favaro, Malloyd, or Montz. And I specifically would like to read to you a portion of the Board of Trustees handbook because it is relevant here in that all items, I'm sorry. I lost my place. But basically, there's concern that everyone who serves on the board needs to be concerned with facts first and foremost. And I've noticed by some of the behavior of the past nominees and the current nominees, that some of these people have actually spoken in opposition to our library and to our government. And I really want to see people on the board who will be advocates for the library. The library's mission is to educate everyone, to let them have equal opportunity to knowledge, and to protect and serve, not protect, but to serve our communities. And so those are my concerns, and I hope that you will take these nominations very seriously, because the future of our community depends on the health of our library. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker, Jamal Taylor, and he will be followed by Jared Eubanks.
Excuse me for slow walking. I had a medical procedure last Monday, but I didn't want to miss the fun and excitement of the council meeting. It's just always so exciting here. When we think about trusteeship, particularly on the library board where I was a member, and I think, as I recall, made the motion to hire Ms. Elberson, we need to hire people that are committed to the work of the fiduciary responsibility necessary for managing an organization with the budget of the size of the libraries. And so, as a former library trustee for the Lafayette Parish system, I have some reservations about both Judge and Matran as well, given the nature of their commentary publicly. I would, to both of the two nominations that you all made, sit a little differently. I think that those people have shown their resume show a capability to effectively do the job. Though I'd like to disseparate, I've mastered Robert's Rules of Order, so I'm able to straddle the fence. I think that we must hire people and appoint people to the library board that understand the responsibility and follow the policies of our library board, which has been a huge issue here recently. And so we need someone that will not embarrass us and have the American Library Association writing letters saying that we aren't following the canons of library trusteeship. And I think both Judge and Matran's nomination does that. We got to find a way to turn down the temperature, folks. I can come and hoop and holler up here every time, but if we want Lafayette to become the city where we do stupid stuff, then we keep appointing people that are far right, far left, whatever. If we can't get to the place where we're able to have a conversation and appoint people that are able to come to the middle of the road and make decisions in the best interest of anybody, then we will continue to be on national news for everything unsavory. So, speaking against Judge and Matran, of course speaking for both of the two nominations that you made. Thank you, gentlemen, for your nominations.
Next speaker.
Next speaker is Jared Eubanks, and he will be followed by Corey Levier.
Good evening. My name is Jared Eubanks. I'm a resident of District 5. I come here today to support Dr. Christy Malloyd. Not only is she a qualified public servant and educator, she is far more active in our community than, well, but a handful of people that I can count. Also, right now, with the kind of polarity on the board, I think her activity advocating with the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan body, is exactly what we need. We need somebody who is looking to make this nonpartisan, who wants to make things accessible to everyone, which I think should be the goal of the library, and someone who will take seriously the roles and the guidelines of the body. For this reason, I ask you today to right some wrongs. I think we've made some appointments moving in a wrong direction. I think this is a chance to get us moving back in the right direction. So thank you for your time tonight.
Final speaker, Corey Levier. Levier? Okay, he's not here. That concludes the speakers, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Taylor, I thank you for recommending earlier when you spoke that we turn down the temperature on this whole discussion. I couldn't agree more. I think over the last few weeks, there's been a lot of discussion about the Library Board of Control, and I'll be frank with you, overwhelming majority of the information that's been circulating has been disinformation. It's been deliberately used to communicate partial truths and deceive the public. And really, it's been used to generate a smear campaign against members of the library board and this council, all in an attempt to further politicize the library system, which is a vital asset to the community. The attacks over the last few weeks against the Library Board of Control, have been perpetrated by members of the media, some state and local elected officials, and by current and former members of the library itself. And so I want to set the record straight tonight before we vote on this appointment, because I do think it is vital to the future of the library system. First, let me address the Library Board of Control's call for diversity of speakers and viewpoints within the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities Grant. The presentation portion of the LEH grant was comprised of two portions. The first was a history of voter suppression, including the issues surrounding the founding of our nation, the 15th Amendment, women's suffrage movement, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Programs I personally would have loved to include my children in, since these are important and dear to my family. These are events that are historical, not political, and nobody even suggested differing viewpoints on these topics. Second, the second portion of the presentation consisted of current political issues, such as voter ID laws, voting rights for felons, voting rights for illegal aliens, and the abolition of the Electoral College, all of which are highly political issues. In fact, LEH stated on their very own website, in its own informational video on YouTube, what they were looking for in this grant, and they say, quote, "We're looking at historic and contemporary voter suppression tactics." The board did not approve this grant due to the former library director's refusal to include opposing viewpoints on this portion of the presentation. Now, to be clear, contrary to what the media has reported, not one person on this council, the Library Board of Controls, or anyone in the community that I've heard has called for members of the KKK or anti-women's suffrage speakers as a part of this, but that was what was reported in the media. And to imply this and to malign the character of hardworking library board members who volunteer their time is a manipulation of the facts in order to score political points, and I believe it's downright evil. The Library Board of Control gave direction, which is their responsibility.
Councilman Carlson, I hate to... Councilman Carlson?
Yes.
Excuse me. Any further outbursts, I will have you removed from the council chambers. We want to be respectful. We have been listening to everyone that has come to the mic. I'll ask you to do the same thing. If you want to have these little sidebar conversations, take it to the hall, but not in here. We're going to be respectful, we're going to be courteous, and we're going to be professional. Thank you. Continue, sir. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Library Board of Control gave direction, which is their responsibility, to the former director to provide speakers from varying viewpoints of the current political issues, not historical issues. The Library Board of Control's goal was to ensure a robust exchange of ideas and an apolitical stance from the library. The Library Board of Control fully supported the presentation of historical context of voter suppression. Additionally, the Library Board of Control was attempting to keep the library apolitical, while the media, elected officials, and others in the community ran with coordinated, malicious, and outright false attacks on that board. Also, the Library Board of Control has done all it can to protect the library and ensure that it is a thriving part of our community for years to come. Secondly, there's been some questions regarding who has ultimate authority over programming in the library. And I want to read just a brief portion of a legal opinion by Assistant City Parish Attorney Mike Hebert, who references a state statute and says, pertinent to this question, the library programming policy states in pertinent part that the ultimate responsibility for programming at the library rests with the library director, who administers under the authority of the library control. This sentence correctly states the relationship between the Lafayette Library Director and the Lafayette Parish Board of Control. He says, although I take issue with the use of the term ultimate responsibility with regard to the library's director's authority, it is correct to state that the library director administers programming under the authority of the Board of Control, but the ultimate responsibility for programming rests with the Board of Control, which establishes rules and regulations for the government of the library. To summarize, the Lafayette Parish Library Board of Control is the ultimate authority for establishing Lafayette Parish Library programming, but the Board of Control may delegate and has delegated portions of that authority to the library director. The scope of that delegation is solely within the authority of the Board of Control, and it can be established, modified, or withdrawn in whole or part as the Board of Control may see fit. Again, as you can see, a poorly written policy of a prior board violates state statute, which clearly places ultimate authority within the library control. Look, I'm calling for the community to come together because I agree with you. I think the temperature has been turned up too high, and I believe that we deserve diversity of ideas and viewpoints and should never solely promote one idea or ideology. For me, when I go to make decisions on who I'm going to appoint to any board or commission, I look at a few criteria. One is, did they, after submitting their resume, did they make personal contact with me? Did they make any attempt through email or phone call to introduce themselves, give me a more than just a snapshot on a one-page resume? In this case, I had 3 members out of the 7 reach out to me directly to introduce themselves. That automatically, from my decision, winnows down the people that I'm going to seriously consider to those 3. I know there are people that were personal, close family friends of mine, never bother to reach out. Secondly, every time someone applies for a board or commission, I always ask them the same question. Tell me why you want to be on this board or commission. And then I want to listen to them. I want to listen to their viewpoints and their opinions. And then thirdly, I look at their resume, their qualifications, and what they bring to the table. And in doing so, after evaluating all 7 and ultimately 3 appointments or 3 candidates for this position, that is how I arrived at this decision. I wanted to put the information out there because if you read news articles or talk to people, you've only gotten part of the story. And I wanted to make it perfectly clear on the record all of the facts as well as how I arrived at the decision that I'll be making tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Any other comments from the council? Mr. Rubin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your quotes were your conversation and argument was somewhat good, very good and whatnot. But I think what the audience is talking about is, at this particular time, that wasn't the discussion. You could have saved that one for the open mic. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where these people are talking about, you know, that's what they're getting at. And that's why they're a little upset because they don't get to talk about it at this particular time as well, because we wouldn't let them talk about it. So I think that's what the argument is right now, you know, but your comments are duly noted, but we could have saved them for open mic.
I'll remember that for next time. Thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other comments? I do have one, and I know we're talking about the credentials of these individuals, and I guess I just need to remind everyone, what is that we advertise when we ask for people to step up, volunteers from the community? We're asking that they be a citizen of Lafayette, that they be a registered voter. You may have to do ethics training each year and maybe financial disclosure. But there's no specific qualifications like we see in some businesses and organizations where you must have a college degree or at least a high school diploma or years of experience. Nothing says that you have to be a library science major. It's not in there. It's very, very generic, very open to allow citizens to volunteer their time. We wanted individuals that are committed. I went through the roster of the board members, and it's interesting to take a look at their backgrounds, and that's what we're talking about, the qualifications. Who is best qualified to serve? And I'll just run down the education. We have a Bachelor of Science, a Master's of Business Administration, a BA, one, we're not sure, no given education level. We have an attorney. We have an Associate of Legal Studies. We have a Bachelor of Science, an associate degree. They range in profession from executive assistant to business owner to a director, one unknown, again, an attorney, a bus driver, office manager, and a student. Very, very diverse. Did they adhere to the guidelines that were advertised in terms of wanting to serve? Absolutely. We didn't go down and say, well, they must be only attorneys. We didn't say that it must be someone with a business administration. So I think it's done that way for a very specific reason, to encourage people to get involved, which is so much needed. And, you know, just because I don't have a doctorate or a master's of education or whatever it is, it does not mean that I can't serve and serve effectively. These people have a lot to contribute, and they're dedicated. They're very dedicated. We ought to be thanking each and every one of these individuals for offering their time and services to our community. So anyway, I just wanted to make it clear that while, you know, we would like to add some qualifications, it's not written that way. So anyway, said enough. Okay. Any other comments? Ready to vote?
District 3?
Judge.
District 4?
Judge?
District 5? District 1?
Judge.
District 2?
My lord.
Robert Judge is appointed.
Okay.
Appointment to the Lafayette Parish Waterworks District North Board for a 5-year term effective March 1st, 2021. Applicants must be district residents.
Well, I'm sorry. Mr. Nakam.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Mr. Richard.
Seeing that there are no other applicants, it's second. Let's go with the vote.
District 4?
Yes, Richard.
District 5? District 1? District 2?
Richard.
District 3?
Richard.
Jared Richard is appointed. Appointment to the Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board for a 4-year term effective March 1st, 2021. Applicants must be a minority as defined by Louisiana Revised Statute 382233.2. This is a joint appointment by the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council.
Again, we have two that have submitted applications, Ms. Rue and Mr. Morrison. Keep in mind that whatever we do must be also in concert with the city council in terms of their recommendation as well. So I'll accept nominations for the first appointment. Either Ms. Rue or, Mr. Nakam.
Rue.
Any other? All right, let's call the vote.
District 5? District 1? District 2? District 3? District 4?
Rue.
Karen Rue is appointed. Appointment to the Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board for a 4-year term effective March 1st, 2021. This is a joint appointment by the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council.
And again, the same rule applies. When we make a nomination, it must coincide with the city and vice versa. Mr. Nakam.
Chris John. My point.
Mr. Tabor.
Nominate Lance Bale.
Any other nominations? Call for the vote.
District 1? District 2?
John.
District 3?
Beal.
District 4?
John.
District 5? Lance Bill is appointed.
Okay. Introductory ordinances, please.
Mr. Chair, you need a motion and a second for in globo.
Let's get to my, okay, introductory ordinance. I need a motion and second to introduce the ordinances. Motion by Mr. Narcan, seconded by Mr. Rubin. Cindy, please read.
Parish Ordinance 4, 2021, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 operating and capital budgets of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing revenues in the amount of $83,000 received from the ASPCA and increasing the use of 206 fund balance in the amount of $13,000 and appropriating both within the elected officials CAO department, Animal Shelter and Care Division for the purpose of expanding disaster preparedness and response capabilities for animals through the purchase of a transport vehicle. Parish Ordinance 5, 2021, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the use of PY fund balance in the amount of $49,000 and appropriating within the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer, Juvenile Detention Division, for additional security at the Juvenile Detention Home. Parish Ordinance 6, 2021, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 operating budget of the Lafayette Consolidated Government by increasing revenues in the amount of $32,819 received from the State of Louisiana Community Water Enrichment Fund and appropriating within the Community Development Department.
Council discussion. Not hearing any. Ms. Williams, any public comment? Let's vote.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5? Yes. District 1? Yes. The motion to introduce in global is approved.
Before we move to the next item, just a little housekeeping under our rules. We are scheduled to run until 6 o'clock. We started at 4:31, so we're at 6:01. What I'm going to need to do, given the agenda, we're going to have to extend our meeting by 30 minutes within the rules. So I need a motion and a second to do that. Been moved by Mr. Carlson, seconded by Mr. Tabor, that we extend our council meeting by 30 minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Go ahead and hit your.
Yes.
So we have extended our meeting by 30 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Escott, for keeping us straight. Okay, let's move on. Joint introductory ordinances. I need a motion and second from the council to introduce items 26 through 29 in global.
Motion.
Been moved by Mr. Narcan, seconded by Mr. Rubin. Cindy, please read.
Joint Ordinance 6, 2021, and Joint Ordinance of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council, amending Chapter 6 of the Lafayette Consolidated Government Code of Ordinances relative to the issuance of alcoholic beverage delivery permits within the city and unincorporated parish of Lafayette. Joint Ordinance 7, 2021. A joint ordinance of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing and directing the Lafayette Mayor President to enter into a new exclusive contractual agreement with Acadian Ambulance Service Incorporated and Air Med Services LLC for emergency and non-emergency ambulance services within the jurisdiction of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government. Joint Ordinance 8, 2021, a joint ordinance of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 2021 operating budget of the Lafayette and adjusting the manning tables of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing the use of the City General Fund prior year fund balance in the amount of $1,535 to delete one mail clerk position and add one clerk 2 position in the Communications 311 Division of the Office of the CAO. Joint Ordinance 9, 2021, a joint ordinance of the Lafayette City Council and the Lafayette Parish Council adopting an update of the official drainage map of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government and of the Lafayette Parish Drainage District established by Ordinance 289, 2001.
Any council discussion? Ms. Williams, any public comment? Call for the vote.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, District 1, District 2.
Yes.
The motion to introduce in global is approved.
At this point, we'll turn to comments from the public. This is an opportunity to allow you to speak on any item that's not on the agenda. Ms. Williams, do we have any cards? We do, okay. All right, so this is the time to speak about topics relative to the parish of Lafayette that are not included as an agenda item. Again, I'll ask that there not be any debating or confrontational statements. Will not be allowed. For efficiency and to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, questions should be submitted in writing to the clerk of the council if you have any questions. Again, we have several of you who are wanting to speak. You're reminded that there is a 3-minute rule in effect. Ms. Williams, the first speaker.
First speaker is Kathleen Espinoza, followed by Keith Falk. And Mr. Falk, if you can come to the next mic.
Just keep alternating. We'll wipe them down and keep alternating so we can move along.
Okay,
Kathleen,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Espinoza. I'm here on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Lafayette. We would like to get some clarification from this body on recent actions by the Lafayette Parish Library Board of Control. And I would like to reference what Mr. Carlson said. You know, in the League, we do like to work with information at our disposal, minutes, resolutions, policies that are published on the website. So obviously, we certainly appreciate transparency and certainly that what you provided. Excuse me. I would like to point your attention to a December 16th, 2020 resolution that you passed unanimously. I believe there was one person who was absent, authorizing the Lafayette Public Library to file the application for the grant. In this resolution, there is a description of the grant's purpose, and there is a pro forma clause in the resolution authorizing the parish president to facilitate the completion of the contract between the library and the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities. There is an internal memo attached, dated November 24th, between the director of the library and the chief administrative officer that is submitted for the process for the council resolution. There is no mention, nowhere, not one, of the Library Board of Control. This presents as evidence to us that the Board of Control acted outside of its jurisdiction in denying the community this important library program. It was, of course, disheartening to learn that the majority of the board based its actions solely on their understanding that a discussion of these historical events related to the championing of the rights of all Americans, equal access to the ballot, that this should or could be presented as a debate. I think we can all agree, and I think Mr. Carlson also indicated this, that as participants in a democracy, we should be unified in our efforts to educate ourselves on historic injustices, to work to end injustices that still persist, and to better understand how an injustice for any one of us is an injustice for all of us. The best and most efficient path to understanding these injustices is done in part by engaging in community discussion. So we respectfully ask you, the parish council and governing authority, charged with approving and executing outside funding for the Lafayette Parish Library, how the Library Board of Control was able to do this and essentially go over your authority and deny us this program that I think we all need. The League believes that clarification is necessary, not just for the Lafayette Parish Library System, but for all boards and commissions that act under your authority. The league recognizes the important role that boards and commissions have in oversight of city and parish operations, and we are grateful for their service. They are volunteers. We also recognize that the efficient operation of city and parish services
Kathleen,
depends on
please
professionals
wrap up.
charged. And so, thank you.
Good.
That's
Thank
it.
you for your comments. And if you do have questions, again, I ask that you submit them to Ms. Williams. Next speaker.
Keith Falk, concerned community activist.
And the next speaker following Mr. Falk will be Jared Eubanks.
Mr. Carson, the question is not whether the library director or the library control board had the authority to deny certain programs. The question is, underneath the library's control policy, the library boards of control policy, it clearly states that programming would not exclude from consideration because of race, origin, background, views, or possible controversy. It would not exclude topics, speakers, and resources because of possible controversy. So I'm calling on those 5 board members to either resign or be terminated. The board president, he needs to resign or be terminated for violating the Employee Protection Act, the Privacy Act, for giving Ms. Elson's employee background while she was with the library, while she was employed by the library at that time at a public meeting without her consent or without her presence. Also, given the actions of the administration and the council, the parish council, and also the governing bodies, I'm calling that this government see that there is a problem with systematic racism. And until this government can address this problem, or even give some kind of addressing to this problem, it's just going to further divide this city and parish. So this government just needs to get on board of what the full parish need, not just one side of the parish, the full parish. Thank y'all.
Next speaker is Jared Eubanks. He will be followed by Jamal Taylor.
Good evening, I'm Jared Eubanks. I wasn't planning to speak. I appreciated everyone's respect of the rules and speaking strictly to the nominees they were supporting. Everyone in attendance, not necessarily the council themselves, of course. I am ashamed that we're here at the beginning of Black History Month talking about turning away free money so that we could have programming about voting rights and specifically the role of African American women in getting us where we are today. I also am dumbfounded that we're going to decide that the library can't talk about anything contemporary unless they set it up as a debate. The idea that we can't have programming regarding what is important in the future of our country is, without setting it up as some kind of like tit for tat, is just dumbfounding. And to pretend that this is the board making the situation less political is just downright not true. This is the board picking topics that they don't like and using this tit for tat reasoning to stop them from happening. We were just treated to a rant about how media are liars and evil, but I think hearing that these nominations were about anything other than political ideology is clearly patently false. I'm familiar with both Robert Judge and another, Ms. Armbruster, another recent nomination of the board. And the way I'm familiar with them is probably how most of the council is familiar with them, which is just a couple years ago, they were here arguing to cancel programming that did not meet their like social or political views, we are moving in a scary and bad direction. And that's why there has been state and national attention paid to this, not because of lying, evil media. I am deeply disappointed in the lack of honesty and openness about the discussions of these appointments tonight. Thank you.
Next speaker is Jamal. Could you hold your applause till all the speakers are completed? Thank you. Jamal Taylor, followed by Marja Broussard.
It's a shame that on the cusp of Black History Month, I have to come up here and lecture people on the importance of togetherness. Mr. Carlson, to respond to your commentary earlier that wasn't on the agenda, no, you and I do not agree because I think that your commentary is racially inflammatory. But moreover, to suggest that this city does not have an issue with race is laughable at best and disappointing and sad at worst. The fact that 4 privileged white people sit and look at me at a council meeting while 1 black representative sits up here, though our city makeup looks very different, is also very disappointing. Mr. Gilbo, I would lecture you on what you did to us earlier by precluding our commentary, however letting your white colleague to your left go on a rant about the rules that govern the library. To clarify to Mr. Carlson, your buddies on the library board that are patently racist bigots made a choice.
Mr. Jamal, let's keep it.
Is there a rule that precludes me speaking?
We don't need.
Is there a rule?
I'm not going to allow the attack of the individuals.
Can you pause my time because the chair, yeah,
No, ma'am.
put it back.
No, sir. Continue.
No, sir, because I have no problem suing you all for violating my rights to speak. I assure you on this good here Black History Month.
You may speak.
No, sir, I control the time.
You may speak, but speak to the issues.
Sir, I control the time. The time is mine, and you've interrupted it twice, but I'm going to reclaim it and say to you again that the people on that library board did things that are patently racist, and you just did one too because your buddy to your left again decided that you let him talk about Teresa Elbison here, but yet you didn't stop him, but you have the audacity to try to stop me? That's the problem with this city. Yes, there's an issue with race, and you're facilitating it by perpetuating the idea that I can't get up here and talk about somebody while your buddy 2 seats down can. As a black man, I assure you that I'm going to speak every time I want, and I am very aware of the legal remedy afforded to me to speak before this body. So for you to sit there and try to tell me what I can talk about is a testimony to your white privilege. But make no mistake, this is a new day in here. You don't get to run amok and say what I can and cannot say unless you have a rule that describes and name the rule that I violate in here. And so rather than trying to censor people, you may want to search your conscience and find out perhaps why you are asking and facilitating the racist behavior in this city from the broke parish council that doesn't have any money anyway. That's why we need a split from the city.
Next speaker.
Next speaker is Marja Broussard. She's followed by Janice Green.
I don't know how to follow that. Whew. I am Marja Broussard. I am the Louisiana NAACP State Conference District Vice President, Board, Mayor President, citizens of Lafayette. While most of us are proud of the honorees tonight for Black History, with the exception of Carlos Harvin, I would think that you, Mayor President, being a graduate from Southern University Law School, which is a historical black college, that you, sir, would not be so hypocritical in honoring the first of all that you named earlier tonight, when you, sir, have been on attack for the against the black community, when you force a very good chief of police to resign, when you step over a very experienced chief deputy to put someone else in his place who he had served as an interim chief already, who we're proud to say is the city marshal of Lafayette, Louisiana. Can I get some? It's hypocritical for you to act, Mayor President, as if this is so wonderful when you continue to attack our community. Is it part of the confusion that you want us to, like the black chief, everybody just waiting to see what's going to happen? Because that's how you roll, okay? I would think that being a graduate from Southern University, I went to Southern, they taught us value. They taught us the history. They taught us the lives that were lost as a result of fighting for equality. And when I see that you are making, again, I'm proud of those that were not, honored tonight, but are you sincere about that? And Carlos Harvin, okay, let me leave Carlos out of this. Everybody knows the deal with Carlos Harvin. I just want to share a little more history. We stand on the shoulders of Joe Dennis, Janelle Shagwar, Father Alfred McKnight, Alfred McZeal, George Bowes, James Carlton, Dr. Rayfield Barenko, Tony Shashon, and many, many more. I just would think that someone who graduated from Southern University, historical black college, would have more compassion for black people because they learned it and they know about it. That's my comment. You guys have a good evening.
Next speaker is Janice Green, and she will be followed by Takuna El Shabazz.
Good evening. My name is Janice Green, a proud black and African woman who lives in America. In light of Black History Month, I'm standing on the shoulders and the strength and courage of my ancestors, which will not allow me to speak untruth. I can only surmise after Black history is over, we will get back to normal with the normal saying we are all one race. Yes. That's been the safety net that has been used, okay? I can agree, we are all humans, but if in fact we were all one race, then all humans would be afforded the same freedom, justice, and equality with all the liberties because of the because of the achievements they have brought forth to this country. I celebrate Black history every day because I do know Black is the presence of all things. I would like to share some words with you titled, The Black Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to my brothers and sisters, the Black race, the original man and woman of the earth, founders of civilization. And through the struggle, if I must fight to bring my beloved brothers and sisters to justice, I will pledge to do that. Okay, because my brothers and sisters need to be brought to uncompromising freedom, and I pledge to study and discipline myself mentally and physically so that I may become a soldier for justice, because my brothers and sisters need strong and intelligent warriors. I pledge to stand tall if someone on their knees is not respected, and if I am challenged, I must say I will not surrender. I hope these words tonight be an inspiration for those who are struggling with coming into proper knowledge of the ugly untruth, with accepting the psychological damage of what 400 years of an oppressed Black people here in America. I'll leave you with a quote from Dr. King. It's nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
Next speaker, Takuna El Shabazz, followed by Tara Fogelman.
Could I just take a second? I have a technology problem.
her laptop. My iPad went out completely. Don't want me to speak.
There's a devil in here.
Ms. Williams, while they're doing this, why don't we call the other speaker? And
Okay.
Here we go.
oh, you ready? Okay.
Yes. Takuna Malana El Shabazz, President and founder of CCBE, Conscientious Council of Black Elders. Any effort by the government entities of Lafayette, Louisiana, to claim acknowledgement for the values of Black history and its celebration reeks hypocrisy and propaganda. Currently, the city government of Lafayette and many of its parish governmental entities are currently involved in the advocating of, either by commission or omission, Black culture genocide, taxation without representation, promoting Black self-hate, historical theft, economic exploitation, historical distortion, with the seemingly intent to solidify a form of white colonialism for the purpose of maintaining an economic cultural advantage over its Black population. A major partner in this demonic cultural, historic, and economic assault on the Black community is UL, a public, tax-supported university. The best way for Black people to celebrate Black history is to make more relevant Black history based on truth. Black people cannot do this by viewing themselves from the once gutter history of Cajun people or from believing that they live in an imaginary geographical area called Acadiana, and certainly not by thinking that Creole land is the historical base. The term Creole is a sublabel that was assigned to light-skinned offspring of enslaved Black women and young Black girls who were systematically raped by white slave masters. Creoles were made to believe that they were better than dark-skinned people and enslaved Black people who were much, much darker in hue and were socially engineered to hate Black people. The unflattering history and the unflattering historical description of Cajun is not my own, but it is what is written in your own works. You say, we cleaned up the term Cajun. I say bravo for all of you. But the term Cajun could never be cleaned up enough to reflect the truth of Black history and capture the richness of Black and African values that Black people must come to know. The derogatory term Cajun was created by one group of white people for another group of white people. The label Cajun was intended to relegate that rejected people to a level of white niggers. White people created both derogatory twin slurs. It is an insult to expect Black people with the knowledge of self to accept the Cajun label for themselves. The city of Lafayette is a government-funded modern-day nigger-making process for Black people overall, under the auspices of selfishness, the promotion of selfishness, and the promotion of Cajun. Thank you.
Tara Fogelman, followed by Wallace Senegal.
Good evening, Tara Fogelman. The last 2 weeks of Lafayette. On January 28th at the Patriots meeting, our mayor, after really disregarding the governor's mask mandate conversation, called some of our community sheeple. After saying, we have more in common than what divides us. Last week, the library committee proved that the lack of training they had before being placed on the actual committee, because they have no idea how to follow Robert's Rules of Order. It doesn't exist to them. Mr. Palumbo, the president, when asked if he knew who Harriet Tubman was, he responded, yes, my wife and I saw the movie. Also, I'd like to know from each one of you, what is the other side of the history of voter suppression, in your opinion? Because I'm very curious. Around the 29th of January, our mayor pushed the DA in accepting charges against someone who was practicing their First Amendment rights. Was that done on taxpayers' money and time, Josh Guillory? I'd like to know the following. How much does it cost the parish for a subpoena to be drafted, then to be served? And also a court appearance for charges to be dropped when they should have never been accepted in the first place? How much did that cost the community? Police on horses went looking for homeless campsites yesterday, making them homeless even more, if that's even possible. Whose idea was that? Were there crisis counselors present there to assist these people? Because in the pictures posted on Facebook, all I saw was a bunch of horses and trash. Then we lost Officer Kerr, and all he simply wants us to do is see people as people. But he was affected so much that he took his life. But we have more in common than what divides us. Living in Lafayette Parish under this administration is exhausting and embarrassing. And having council members sit quietly while dictatorship overpowers democracy is disturbing, to say the least. When will all of you grow a backbone and stand up for equality, showing respect of the next person with compassion? You wanted our vote so you could be our voice, but you can't have it both ways to fit your personal agendas now that you are sitting down in those seats. But again, we have more in common than what divides us.
Next speaker is
Ms.
Wallace.
Williams, before we move to the next, I'm going to have to again ask the council to extend our time by 30 minutes. I need a motion and a second. Excuse me. I need a motion and a second to extend by 30. Been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. So ordered. Continue.
Wallace Senegal, followed by Sharon Patterson.
Good evening. Wallace Senegal with Concerned Community Activists. Man, I keep saying, fix the charter. Look what fix the charter got us. Look where we at on fix the charter. We still got to go to a joint meeting. We still got to go to a city council meeting. What is it? Why is it that we have to be so divided? You know, we was supposed to be having a mayor, but yet no, we still wind up with a mayor president. Either we're gonna have a president for the city parish and not a mayor, or we're gonna have just a mayor with a city address, city everything, in order to control our city. But right now, we don't have no mayor. We got a mayor president. And the mayor president is doing more, as far as I'm concerned, for the parish than he's doing for the city. You know, no reflection to you, Josh, because, you know, you're doing it. You're doing it the way you see do it. And we're all supposed to be Christian here. Most of us run to church on Sundays. But when we leave church after service, we tell Jesus, stay here till I come back next Sunday. And all during the week, we doing whatever we want to do. And it's not good for the city, but it seems like everything is good for the parish. And this is the question, you know, why we keep doing what we doing and seem like we digging a hole for us, and the only way to get out the hole is stop digging. Thank you, guys. And my name is Wallace Senegal, and I approve that message.
Next speaker is Sharon Patterson, followed by the final speaker, Alicia Roberts.
Good afternoon, Council. I just want to say about the library issue that I've done some research that all of us probably have done about Louisiana and education. Louisiana is consistently last in the nation. We are either 48th, 49th, or 50th in the last few years. We should be tired of being last. I'm sure all of us are tired of being last. And yet, when we have an opportunity to gain more education, it is turned down. There is education about voting rights that is not pretty. There is education about Japanese internment camps. That is not pretty. There is education about the Trail of Tears. That is not pretty. And yet, we have to be educated on these things. We have to teach our children to want to learn about our history, negative or positive, so that we can move forward in a positive way. And it's not just our children. When you're talking about the library, there are older people like me who enjoy the programs at the library and who learn from those programs. And we can't just learn about the pretty things. That's not the history of the United States. There's bad things and there's good things. We can take the bad things and progress and learn from them. But the fact is, if you ignore or hide the history, we will not grow and we will continue to stay last. Why are we always last in positive things and first in negative things? And again, it's a brief comment, but I just want to say I can't be the only one who is tired of being last. Thank you.
Next, final speaker, Alicia Roberts.
My name is Alicia Roberts. I promise I'll be nice tonight. So I wanted to ask, I had like all this research and everything, because anybody that knows me knows that I'm a data nerd, but I guess my first question is, when it comes to the Library Board of Control, why are we not taking our direction from some of the most successful library systems in the country? That would probably be our best bet, is to look at how it is and possibly follow the example of those most successful, like the Los Angeles County Library System or the New York City Public Library System. But I guess what I want to address after hearing some of Mr. Gilbo's comments earlier is, what makes a Library Board of Control candidate qualified? Well, for you to sit there and say that no qualifications past being a district resident and a registered voter matter is absurd. Would you want an unqualified doctor who read a bunch of books and really wanted to do it, operating on you or making medical decisions for you? Same with an attorney. Do you want an attorney who doesn't know anything? No, you want somebody qualified and educated. So why are you treating our library board like a participation trophy? We are not stocking that board with our best and brightest when it comes to library issues. We want educators, people with highly informed minds about literature and library science in itself. Why would we settle for 20-year-old children who have no qualifications to be on a library board to be on the library board? The appointments over the last year smack of cronyism and nepotism, and this current administration is sending us even further back to the storied, corrupt politics that Louisiana is world-renowned for, and it's shameful. Mr. Carlson, your soliloquy was the exact type of propaganda that you were ranting against. Tonight's vote for Mr. Judge is an embarrassment. This council, based on that vote, is an embarrassment. And a perfect example of why this parish, as well as this state, suffers from a massive brain drain of epic proportions. You claim to love the library, and you claim to love the library we have, but you've been working now to rob it blind and work against it with your appointments for the last 2 years. For a party, since most of you represent the same party, that claims to love fiscal responsibility and small government, you are overly involved in the library, and you sure have been punitive to make sure the library works hard against the fiscal responsibility they displayed. I do also want to agree with a prior speaker in the fact that we need a mayor for Lafayette, because if we're going to deconsolidate, we need to do it right. And also, people need to wear their masks, like your employees in the lobby. And people need to wear their masks correctly, which means over their nose. And maybe an example might be led by the president.
Mr. Chair, no other speakers.
Not hearing any further discussion or comments. Meeting adjourned. We do have a emergency meeting, a joint emergency meeting to follow.
Immediately following, so
So
we'll
just
just call
hold
in,
your
yeah,
seat.
we'll just call in the city council.
Yeah, on that intro of those funds that are coming from. No. No, it's,
Hey, what we have to do? What we do?
You're over here, Eddie. Here, no, this is yours.
I don't know, that's not us. Josh.